Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Monday, February 27, 2023. And please do me a favor in the comments. As you know, we had an event last night and everything with tech that could go wrong this morning has been going wrong. So please let me know if you can hear me. Somebody just put in the comments, Leon or Marjorie, let me know if y'all can hear me. Shake your head. And if you, okay, beautiful. So this morning, it is Mental Health Mondays. And I would like to thank our Dr. Brandy Brooks, who understood today why I needed at the last minute to change programming. A few months ago, a young lady reached out to me in reference to the fact, and she was very honest and transparent about how her daughter's transition happened. And so we're going to hear from Marjorie this morning. I'm not going to pronounce her last name until she comes on so I can do it right, because that is so important to pronounce names respectfully. And we're also going to hear from a young man. Thank you all. I see that you're putting that you can hear. Wonderful. Leon, tell them people to stop texting you and put your do not disturb on, because I can see in the background you went out real quick. I'm only messing. I have to have a little bit of black joy this morning because this is such a serious subject. If you were paying attention, many people, but specifically a lot of young Black and brown women, are dying from fentanyl. It's in Percocets, it's in marijuana, it's being laced among a lot of recreational drugs. And we're going to have a real conversation today about fentanyl in Boston. Some years ago, I had an opportunity to observe this young man. He, myself, Carlos Enriquez, and I believe Domingos, right then were talking about needles in the park, and which has ultimately evolved into the South End Roxbury partnership that is very active in the issues of needles in the park. We unfortunately have another growing epidemic in our community. And so at first, I'm going to bring Marjorie on, who is a mom. She's going to name her daughter's name. I ask that you, when she comes on, support her, hearts, prayers, love. And then we'll bring Leon as well to introduce himself. So without further ado, and Marjorie, we'll just say Marjorie D, so I don't mess up your name. Good morning to you, sis.
Hi, how are you? I'm Marjorie Depperdine, Tamari Smith's mom.
Depperdine and Tamari Smith?
Yes.
All right. And so we want to be sure we say her name, Tamari Smith. And also we're going to bring in Leon Rivera, who is an activist, an advocate, a father, a great young man. And we're going to have a very real conversation today. And so Marjorie, if you could please just tell me, I'll be very honest. Why did you reach out? And I want to ask, and you said you understood, and I appreciate it. But when I saw Leon's live the other night, and I saw you commenting, I went back to your inbox. You inboxed me some months ago. I want to say it was December, if not earlier. Tell me why you inboxed me.
Because I just knew you had that platform, and I knew that a lot of people were affected by this fentanyl epidemic that's going on in our community in Boston. And I just felt like, I wanted my voice to be heard.
And tell us about Tamari. Tell us about her.
Yeah, so Tamari was a mom. She has a 7-year-old daughter, Kylie. She grew up in Roxbury. She's very loving. She was rough around the edges, but she was my daughter, and she suffered with a lot of depression and things. When as she got older, she just stopped taking her medication for it, and then things just turned like into like drinking. She's just like self-medicated herself with different things.
And thank you for naming that, because while there is sensitivity to people that are self-medicating, dealing with substance use, depression, there unfortunately I've seen some sort of casual and not so sensitive comments about this issue of fentanyl in our community, and people sometimes casually just believe that it is a outcome of someone just using,
Yeah.
recreational drugs. And so thank you for naming her name and naming her story, so people really understand. And that's why I think it was so important for you
Yeah.
to come today and talk about it. Why are you being so transparent? Because this is going on a lot in our community. And
Yeah.
you're one of the only few that have been very honest and transparent. Why the transparency, Marjorie?
Because it may help someone else, this comes with a lot of stigma, right? It wasn't easy at all. But from the first day I got the phone call, I knew what my daughter died from, and I was very transparent about it. I didn't lie about it. I didn't wait for the medical examiner to tell me she had fentanyl in her system. It was what it was, and I was very honest about it.
So Marjorie, I'm trying to keep myself together. And so you knew.
I
Um,
knew because I just knew, like, Tamari, just, to her, it was just like partying, right? She took
yes.
it recreationally. It wasn't like she did it every day. Did she think she was going to die from it? No, she didn't think she was going to die from her mistake. I didn't think she was going to die from it because I thought this was just a mass and cast problem. I didn't know this was a problem with somebody from Roxbury that could have died from fentanyl. So, when it happened to me, I'm like, this is a lot. And she probably still have friends that do it. And that's why I go hard, because I don't want another parent to feel like me. You know what I mean? And not everyone can talk about this situation because it's very shameful. But I'm not going to be ashamed, and I'm not going to be silent about it.
Audrey, again, thank you. I'm very sensitive today. I'm going to bring in my brother. He's going to inform us, but him and I have a rapport that I could kind of use this little black joy this morning. So, Leon, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, um, introduce yourself, and then I'm going to give some context to your history and advocacy.
Well, I'm a Roxbury resident, father, son, BPS advocate. I mean, we try to get into everywhere, but I just wanted to take a moment. Thank you, Marjorie, for sharing that, because I've seen you on my posts a number of times, saying, this is wrong. What can I do to help? Who do I reach out to? So it's stories and individuals like you that motivate me and inspire me to keep doing this work, because like you said, it's your daughter's gone, but you're still here fighting for other people's kids. And I think that's the mentality that we need to have. We don't have to know everyone, but we have to care you know um, and when you say that massing cast, a lot of people were under the impression that massing cast was just the issues were just on massing cast. And for years we've been telling elected officials, stakeholders, that massing cast was slowly spreading into our neighborhoods. The policies that were in place, our efforts, were slowly spreading into smaller communities. And it's frustrating to know that we're here today, and it's like, we told you so. Bodies are dropping, and again, it's like, we told you so. So yeah, thank you, James. I'll let you do your thing, and then we can talk. But I appreciate that. I know I've seen Marjorie on there for a while now, and it's like a little seed planted in my head, that I've always thought about, like, what's happening over there. So I appreciate you sharing that story. Thank you.
Leon, the only thing I wanted to say, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, is we met a little bit prior to, but we really got communicated and bonded over a Twitter conversation some year. I want to go back, bro, to almost 2000, 10 years, because it was before I moved to Brooklyn, and that was in 2014. and you were advocating around the bridge in Roxbury, and then you started seeing needles. And then a simple hashtag, myself, you, and Carlos, and I believe Domingo as well, needles in the park, heroin in the park. If you go and search on Twitter right now, that hashtag, heroin in the park, needles in the park, it goes back all the way to about, I think, 13. So to your point, I just wanted to celebrate and you, Black man, for the advocacy that you do, period, and across the board. Not out there silent. You're out there when you need to be around messaging, but I just needed to raise that because we wouldn't be here today had I not seen that live. Marjorie, this would have happened, but had I not seen you on his live. And so, Leon, I want to lift you and thank you as well as Marjorie for being so transparent. Leon, you referenced to 10 years. And here we are. And I know it's not and I love my brother, and I know he gets a little snarky with me often. It wasn't snarky, but you said, we told you so. And I just referenced to 10 years. Sir, what is the holdup? From your observation and perspective, why are we this mass and cast, and then now the fentanyl? And Marjorie, I'm going to come right back. But while I have a couple of folks to hear, I need them to hear this advocacy perspective as well.
So what was your question again?
My question was, what's the holdup? What's the barrier? Why? 10 years. 10 years.
Shit show that we're in right now? Bad policies. Bad policies across the board. And I'll tell you, when we first started finding needles in our parks, we said, you know what? Okay, we can't stop everyone from consuming drugs. So let's try to figure something out. Can we add a kiosk? We thought about the kiosk as just a quick solution to the park. We didn't know that a whole wave was going to come. Okay. 2014 came. The bridge was closed. We told folks in our city, well, across Massachusetts, come down here. We got the services. We have all the services you need, housing, detox beds. Come on down. We got you. What ended up happening? We saw an influx of folks just come down
from everywhere.
We couldn't control it. Our biggest mistake was telling folks to keep coming in when we knew that we couldn't hold it. We couldn't control the amount of numbers that we had. We couldn't service these folks. So instead of being realistic and saying, hey, we don't have the resources to service everyone coming down here, we need to figure something out. We just kept our doors open. And as we kept our doors open, we're seeing so many. We've had overdoses before, but we had very small one here, maybe someone at Clifford Park laying down on the ground. What ended up happening was we saw this harm reduction movement come up, okay? And folks from San Francisco and Canada, and they started pointing at these models and said, well, you know what? These models are working in other countries. We need to, we can try that here. We can definitely do that here. We're the first. Boston is the first in everything. So what we ended up doing was we started applying and adopting these policies where we started giving out needles left and right. We were cool with giving. There's this thing called needle exchange where you give one needle, you get one back. Somehow we ended up where we're giving boxes of needles to folks right now. So if you go down to Mass and Cass, you can get a box of needles. If it's after 6 p.m., you can find a guy selling them at the gas station. So we've created this disaster. And the frustrating part is that for years, we've seen Mass and Cass get worse and worse and worse. But then the slideshows that the city presents to us, it's a whole different picture. You have beautiful, clean sidewalks. You have people going into treatment. But then you walk down to Mass and Cass and you see people laying down in feces with rats, overdosing, foaming in the mouth, bleeding. So when you tell me that this is harm reduction, I'm worried because this to me is not harm reduction. When we're giving people the tools of their suffering, when we're having Massachusetts, we're in Boston, right? We're the only city in Massachusetts that has a designated area where people can come sell, shoot, sexually traffic, do whatever they want. But you can't take food down there. I just saw an article, a tweet not too long, a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Security guards harassing folks for giving out food. But and this is where it's fun. Again, I want this administration to succeed. I live in this city.
Yes.
I want to see things get better. But I can't turn a blind eye to this. Absolutely. And many of us, even that are doing the work, are frustrated because you mean to tell me that I can go down there with a bag of fentanyl, coke, meth, whatever I want, and I'm okay. But if I want to bring down a sandwich down there, we have a problem. That's where we draw the line. We can't arrest dealers because we're not criminalizing folks. But you know what? Social workers are not going to solve this issue. We have dealers. We are people. These are people selling poison. So someone selling poison, making thousands of dollars a year, well, actually a day. I'm sorry, because BPD has told us that there's about $100,000 that circulates mass and cast daily. Don't take it from me. You go look for these numbers. Don't take anything I tell you. Look at the numbers. $100,000 daily. So this is where I get frustrated, and many. It's just not me. Many folks are frustrated because we say, okay, so we have dealers who are coming down from all over the state to one specific area to service 200, 300 people daily, and we see no arrest. And this is the public health lens that we're leading by. It's great.
Let me jump in because it was important to get the policy out, but we know we have mom on, and so I want to be in 2 testosterone carriers, and I want to be sensitive to our sister. Marjorie, as a mother, to hear this, maybe not mass and cast, and you've drawn the distinction that you thought, the mass and cast, this wouldn't evolve into this. As a mother, how to hear about this and the knowledge of a lot of Black women being impacted by this in our city, to that and what you heard Leon said, how do you feel?
And I'll just add one piece. Please, Marjorie, if you can cover, because we need to hear from parents and folks in recovery. How do you feel about these policies that we're putting in place? Because we're often criticized for, saying that these things don't work. But I think it gives a different perspective when you have a mother or someone in recovery giving these examples and giving their lived experiences versus just an elected official saying, well, this works, this doesn't work.
Thank you to our co-host this morning. I love you, bro. I gotta sneak in Black Joy when we can. And Marjorie, please answer Leon's question.
Okay. So Leon, can you just repeat the question real quick?
Sure. Just based on what we spoke about the programs and the policies that are in place here in Boston. Some folks feel like they're actually encouraging and enabling folks to continue consuming these things. As a mother, how do you see these policies play a role, let's say in your daughter's life and other people's life? How do you see these policies play a role on your end?
Well, it's been a little difficult. I just feel like the policies are not strict enough for the people that's selling the fentanyl. It's very hard to charge these people in these deaths. You have to get into their phone. They did get into my daughter's phone. So my daughter's case is an active investigation. So, and because her death was in Randolph, so it's a little different than Boston. But I just feel like if I didn't go as hard and being like, okay, well, here goes her passcode, or let's try this one, because they gave up. But I was like, no, I was like, any little number I thought what it was, that's what I gave. And then they got into her phone. So now it's an active investigation. And I just feel like they need to start holding these fentanyl dealers accountable. You know what I mean? It's because it's wiping out our generation. It's killing them. And people that's just thinking they're doing it and it's not going to affect them are dying. You know what I mean? Did Tamari ask for a Percocet that was laced with fentanyl? No, but that's what she got. Did she take a Percocet before? Yes, probably yes. But did she think she was going to die on June 28th? No, and she did. And I didn't know where else to turn. But after her passing, I started seeing this on the news. I probably used to see it before her death, but it didn't affect me. So I really wasn't in tune. But now it's like it's always on the news. Other mothers are being like affected by this. This does not discriminate your race. If you're Chinese, if you're rich, or if you're poor, it does not matter. Like my daughter had a little grain of fentanyl in her system that took her out. Not a whole bunch, a little grain of salt. That's how the medical examiner explained it to me and my dad. It was a little grain of salt that took her out.
Marjorie, I have to just applaud you, and I want to name, because you mentioned it to me, that this part of your support and your strength comes from where you are right now, the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute. And so shout out to the staff and Tina there that support so many that are dealing with issues of violence in our community. And this is violent. Leon, to hear you make the comparison, and I get it. Food poisoning, people have went down there and got sick, you know, and people, well intentions, they didn't keep it properly cooled and the right temperature, people got sick. But to hear you articulate that example of, I can't bring food, but Marjorie, to your point, we with law enforcement and the DA's office have not figured out a way to impact not bringing drugs. Leon, from your perspective, is it because there's a conflating between those that are using and selling? And so, you know, from your perspective, why aren't these people, if they know that there's $100,000 in this business going on down there, its own freaking economy, its own economy within itself?
Literally.
Why? What from your perspective of update with Kevin and Commissioner Cox? What? Why?
So it's the whole anti-police conversation. So anytime that police go down there and try to do any sweeps or any arrests, we have a very small group of
small but loud.
Small but loud individuals. Yeah, similar to like the the anti-vaxxers, however you call them. Very small group of individuals that dominate this conversation. Young kids from Cambridge consider themselves harm reduction activists. The moment they see any type of law enforcement efforts in that area, they quickly come out and scream and say that, you know, we're arresting, we're criminalizing homeless people. But these are the same people that are silent. Have you heard any harm reduction folks come out now in the last week when all these overdoses popped up? So that's the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. If you're going to come out and complain about police out on mass and cast, you need to be just as upset that people are living in feces, sleeping with rats. And now we have a huge influx of overdoses in the neighborhood, and we don't hear anyone saying anything. There's silence. There's a silence coming from the harm reduction group. There's silence coming from our administration, from our elected officials, which is very frustrating, because the moment we have a shooting or a police officer shoots someone outside in another state, we're able to come together here and organize and set up in downtown. But a young boy was shot the other day, 12-year-old? He was shot. We didn't do anything. We have a number of overdoses happening in one concentrated area. We're still silent.
Where's that area? Where's that area?
It was Nubian Square. So right in Dudley. Right in Dudley.
And what's the number?
Because we have the tools to inform the community about this. This whole thing about the Boston Public Health Commission letting out an advisory, that's like me calling a doctor saying, hey, there's overdose, make sure your people's are good. That's not enough. We have the tools to inform the community correctly. Just like you get I get like 20 text messages and phone calls from BPS. We should be able to target that immediate area and send a mass text, some type of communication to let folks know what's happening there. We don't see those efforts. I don't know why it's not happening. Again, these are things that are very frustrating. Now, back to your you had mentioned something before, James, about the pills that they're being pressed on the Percocet. This is why our young people now, if you look follow the data, people are popping up in cars, unconscious, young people, older folks. The problem is this stuff is being put everywhere. They're compressing perks. So if you can't buy your perks, or if you stop getting perks from your doctor and you start buying them in the streets, you can't tell the difference. They look exactly the same. So and like Marjorie said, it only takes like a gram or two. It's like two little pieces of salt. It's like 2 grams of salt for you to actually overdose. And then on top of that, we're dealing with xylazine, which is an animal tranquilizer. I know it sounds crazy. It's an animal tranquilizer, right? So this animal tranquilizer, it's resistant to Narcan. Narcan is the only thing we have right now to save lives. So
but Leon, can I say something? Yeah, Leon, in our community, a lot of people don't walk around with Narcan, right? The young kids are not walking around with Narcan, because if they did, my daughter probably would still be here today, right? They panic, they get nervous, and they don't want to call 911 because they feel like they're going to get in trouble. But you're not going to get in trouble. I just want to say this on this platform. If you're around someone, around your friend, loved one, family member, and they are overdosing or in stress, call 911. You're not going to get in trouble. The police told me that myself. You're not going to get in trouble. Nothing's going to happen. They'd rather for you to call 911 because too many people are dying. Not everyone in our community have access to Narcan. I said the other day, where do you pick it up from? Someone said you can go to Walgreens, CVS, the hospital. I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if in my daughter's situation, if she would have walked around with Narcan or something, but she probably didn't feel like she had a problem like that. She just thought she was partying and it wasn't going to happen to her. And this is the thing, Narcan will save you. You know what I mean? It will.
They don't know the difference between Percocets and fentanyl and heroin. You know, so a lot of folks feel like it's completely, oh no, I just do pills. I don't do heroin. But little know that the pills you can be consuming, you know, it's very similar. So I think this city can really benefit from an outreach campaign immediately. An immediate outreach campaign.
Oh, that's you're not just coming and raising the issue and fussing and complaining, bitching and moaning. Excuse me, I know it's.
I rarely do. Honestly, I rarely do.
With suggestions.
I don't have. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't have solutions to everything, but that's why I like to stay in my lane. There's certain things, you know. There's certain issues that I'm not too well versed in, you know. I can help, I can support, I can connect, you know, the right folks to. But there's certain things that I work well with, and I'll tell you, I've gotten used to. I know things can't be solved overnight, but working in you know, having Jamal Crawford in the mix, you know, raising myself around these folks, you know, Carlos Enriquez, and all these great folks in the community that have shown me a different way. I know that you can raise concerns, you can be loud, but you can also offer solutions. And that's usually what I try to do. And I hope that you guys catch that, especially on my tweets. You know, I just get very frustrated. Like recently there was a comment on the violence, you know, we're looking for the clergies to help us with the violence. I'm like, people who are shooting are not at church. So why are we looking for pastors?
Just one point. You know? And I found this out from somebody on the street, just to clarify that.
Yep.
Oh, some of these folks that feel they have no other choice but to shoot, they go to church, because when people have witnessed when the police go to the home and say, hey, they're like, so I just want to, you know, that's my wheelhouse. And so
I know that's your wheelhouse. My thing is that we've been doing that for 30 years and we haven't gotten any results. We need to start talking to the young people and start putting money in young people's pockets. This administration is spending what, 6.5 million in advisors, and we're in this shape. We're in tough shape. We're in tough shape. So we need to start thinking outside the box. And I appreciate you, James, for coming on here and giving us this platform, because nobody's talking about this, which is it was mind blowing to me when I seen the numbers of overdoses happening here in our community. It's not just Massachusetts anymore. It's not just white people anymore.
Yep.
This is a Boston issue. Boston is turning to an open drug market because we refuse to tackle dealers. And another issue is, and I think this is something we can work with. Again, these are things that can be done already. We have the Attorney General's office. We can be working with the Attorney General's office to strengthen fentanyl laws. We can work with Maura Healey to do the same thing. All it takes is bringing folks together. I don't know why we're not doing this. It's frustrating. Again, I want this mayor to succeed, but this doesn't make sense. You have people in these positions. And again, sometimes folks are like, well, why don't you take the initiative? I'm tired of taking the initiative.
Because why? There are people, Leon, sorry, Marjorie, you can jump in here too. There are people who we've elected And there are people that are in paid positions to do the work. Fentanyl, mass and cast, violence, and I'll
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're absolutely, and that's where I'm getting to. No offense, some of these folks are great people, but if you can't handle the work, it's an issue, because right now we have people paid to organize mass and cast efforts to do this. Why aren't we seeing these efforts? If we know we have a fentanyl issue, we should be sitting down with our DA's office, AG, bringing someone from we were just all together for election season. Why can't we get together for this?
And coming up in a few months from now.
Again. So we'll see. What I'll tell you is, thank you for bringing that up. What we'll see now in the next 3-6 months is all these elected officials now that are running for re-election, and also, take that sip, Jimmy, are going to come up with plans. Now everybody's going to have a plan. I guarantee you in the next 3 to 6 months, you'll see everyone has a plan for fentanyl, for the violence. They did this 2 years ago. So, Marjorie, you had asked a while back, what can I do to raise awareness? Make phone calls. Literally, this stuff works. Make phone calls to your elected official and say, hey, what are you doing about this? What are you doing about the fentanyl overdoses? If they give you, we're working on, okay, when can I call you back to get more details? Twitter. I've noticed elected officials hate being called out on Twitter, but Twitter is the platform to get things done. I remember there was a state rep one time, a while back. He said, I don't like you calling me out on social media. Just call me directly. But he was able to get, he did what he had to do, though. He took care of that bridge.
But
it takes time, but definitely, Margie. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say something. They should find this alarming, because people are dropping in Brighton, Dudley, especially Dudley, in the projects in Orchard Park. They're being left in the hallway. It's happening everywhere. Like the cocaine is laced with fentanyl in it. People are thinking they're sniffing coke, and the coke is laced. And that's the problem down Dudley now, right? They're dropping down Dudley, Lenox. And it's just like bodies are just like 2 weeks ago, bodies were everywhere. And it was like, what?
Yep.
I'm like, what are these tweets talk about bodies? And the first thing, I was going on Leon's page, like fentanyl. That's the first thing that popped up in my mind, was like fentanyl. Like,
yeah, we knew it. It's so funny how we knew it before the news. They'll say, body down. So we know what's happening. So we definitely need to, again, James, we have the tools. Again, this city has some talented people. We have the resources. I'm not sure why we're so poor in coordination.
Yeah.
We're so reactive. Look, a number of overdoses, and we get an advisory. Just a quick email from Boston Public Health Commission. We should be seeing more from this administration, and I think that's what's frustrating. And again, when I talked about AG, we can definitely look, and we can even bring in our state reps to start seeing what can we do right now. Obviously, laws take time.
Yes.
Things take time, but I'm pretty sure that if we sit down with Kevin Hayden, AG's office, our state reps, our law enforcement, we need law enforcement. I'm all, listen, I consider myself progressive. I consider myself a harm reduction activist. I just have common sense. And it's hard for me to believe that you have a street where people are selling. I'm talking about, you walk down, I go down there to take like food or all type of stuff, hand warmers, and all you hear is, Tina, you need Coke? Got it, $5. They have everything. It's an open jug market. So it's hilarious for me to see someone giving out a sandwich, and then you got law enforcement coming to them. Hey, back it up. That's crazy. That's embarrassing.
But you can't stop the man at the gas station that's selling the syringes and just...
No. So this is why I hope this mayor understands that this is embarrassing, not just for us. It's making her look really bad, because it shows that there's no control. Okay. And then when you see the numbers that we're spending, especially the money that we're spending on mass and cast, we shouldn't be in these conditions. And it's scary because we want to add a daycare center out there. I think there's even a school coming up.
Wait. Daycare center where?
Right in the middle of mass and cast. Yes, if you look at the plans for the next 5 years, they want to add a school out there, and a couple other things. We need to get serious about this because it's not. These are our kids. Whoever's listening on here, this stuff is in weed.
Yeah.
This stuff is in pills. This stuff is even sprayed. You can even get it as a sprayed, a nasal spray.
Aerosol?
It looks like a Flonase, like a nasal spray.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Actually, I put together a workshop that breaks down everything that's happening with fentanyl in Boston. I even got the recent data from that was released in December from the state that shows the overdoses by age, by county, and I think that I'm going to try to figure out a way to get this information.
So, no, hold on, because I was just going to ask you, Marjorie, and please help us and be a part and inform it. Leon, I'll get the space. I'll bring the equipment, the amplify the system, and all of that. Let's get a space and let's educate our community. Electeds and stuff can come. Let's focus on educating our parents and community face to face for those that can't log home.
Marjorie can join us. That would be dope, Marjorie.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You know what's missing a lot in these spaces is voices like yours. That's really what's missing. There's a really small group of people dominating this conversation around.
Gina said it around about a lot of stuff.
Homelessness and addiction, and I think we need to have folks that are in recovery, folks who have lost loved ones in these spaces, leading these conversations. Because right now, what we have folks is screaming for, oh, leave them there. You're taking away their encampment. I'm not for encouraging people to live in feces.
No,
I think we're sending the wrong message when we give folks a whole street where they're living on top of poop, piss, rats. People have rat bites on Mass and Cass. Can you believe that? People have rat bites. This is no joke, Jay. Listen, this is so deep. You go out there and it is depressing. I've brought people down there in recovery and they're like, what the hell is this? Wow. What are we doing? What are we doing? I go down there with loved ones, people looking for their loved ones. What the hell is this? People who come from Wilmington. People don't know how bad it is. When their family comes down here, that's another whole other piece. We have a number of missing people on Mass and Cass every day. Women, men, and we have no idea how to locate them. Some of them have been missing for months, okay? What I have told this administration is, and I've told the Walsh administration as well, is we need a Mass and Cass missing persons database. We need a database.
Hold on. Outreach campaign.
Yep, outreach
awareness. Missing persons or Mass and Cass database. 2 concrete policy suggestions. Proceed, sir.
So, and that Mass and Cass missing persons database, it can be right on Atkinson Street, where families can go directly to the place, provide information of their family, of their loved one, and say, hey, I'm looking for this. Right now, folks are using a Facebook page. Yeah. That's embarrassing.
That started by community.
Yeah,
exactly. So again, we're spending too much money and we have too many resources dedicated to this issue to see what we're seeing today. It makes no sense. So we definitely need an outreach campaign to inform people about the fentanyl in our neighborhoods right now. But we also need to start arresting these dealers because people are showing up with some really nice cars selling this poison, and then they go back to their own town, and we get stuck here with the crap. And these are people who are really, you can't, James, think about this. Think about you trying to get help. You're trying to get clean. They tell you, well, this is where your services are. Here we can help you with housing. Just make sure you stay consistent and you make sure you follow all your appointments and you stay here, right? But then right outside your program, you got homeboy selling meth. You got homegirl here with 2 bags already shooting up right in front of you, telling you, come on. So it makes no sense. How can you get clean when you have an open drug market right outside these facilities? This is common sense stuff. This doesn't make sense at all.
Leon, my grandmother used to say that common sense ain't so common because if it was, and the thing is, if this is a public health crisis, listen, this is what I'm going to do because I'm understanding, and please hear my heart. I understand my voice and impact. And so when Charlie Baker was in, I had challenged him. I didn't have a really rapport with him. There is somewhat a rapport with Maura Healey. There's the proximity to my friend, the mayor. There are other elected officials. I'm challenging the governor, Mayor Wu, elected officials, lead of BPHC and DPH, and the subset departments that impact this. What is her name? Tanya Del. Get in a room and figure this out. Lock them schedules, spend 2 hours. You said there's 6.5 million being sent on consultants. Somebody in there knows how to do strategy.
I hope.
Get a plan together that is sensitive to the humanity, that addresses the criminal activity, and we can walk and chew gum at the same damn time.
And what we've been saying, we can arrest dealers and help people get into recovery at the same time.
And it may be twofold. You may arrest a dealer that needs to be in recovery. There's that population as well, not just the dealers with the cars, but there are those that are dealing to support their habit.
Exactly.
Jesus Lord.
No,
Marjorie, go ahead.
I just want to say one thing, because I know I shared this that I was going to be on here, and I know a lot of young people are listening. Like, I just want to say, like, you know, with Tamari, she looked fine. She looked just like me and you, right? She didn't look like she was popping perks or sniffing coke. But the people on Mass Ave didn't just get there doing heroin, right? They started, right? They started with the perks. They started with the coke, right? And eventually you move up. And with the fentanyl game, eventually you end up down Mass Ave, because you're looking for more now at this point, right? So what I'm saying is the fentanyl game has changed. And eventually, if you continue doing it, and it's no judgment, and I don't work for the DARE program, and I'm not saying stop, but eventually it will catch up to you and you will die. You know what I mean? And, you know, no parent should feel how I feel, because it's the worst feeling, and it comes with a lot of stigma and a lot of shame. But I will not be silent about this, because it may save someone's life. You know what I mean? So I just want to say, Tamari was doing these things, and I don't know if it could have ended up down Mass Ave. I'm not sure. But I know with the fentanyl being laced in this stuff, your body wants more. Your body wants more. Your body wants more. So before she passed, I seen that like 2 weeks before she passed, a change in her behavior, right? And I stand it. But when she passed away, everything came into full circle, right? And this is my truth. Everything came into full circle, right? Because Tamari was the type of person, she would stay home, but she was always on the go the last 2 weeks of her life.
Can I chime in and ask something? You said when she passed away, everything came into full circle.
Yes.
Audrey, do me a favor. Lean back just a little bit so we can see your whole face and project your voice. Talk to mothers right now that you don't want to come full circle after.
Right.
Talk
so 2 weeks before she passed away, you know, I seen things, right? And around the house and just different things, right? And I was finding different
What should
things.
Can I please, ma'am? Can I please? What should the parents, what did you see? What did you see so they know?
No, I just seen a change in her pattern. Okay. Her not eating, just her not, you know, just getting up, taking a nap, jumping out, running out back outside. These are things my daughter never did, right? Yep. And just not, she had a daughter, and just like wanting to be on the go. And I'm like, what is wrong? This is not alcohol here, you know? And she would say to me, Mommy, no, I'm not doing anything. Mommy, I don't look like I'm doing anything. But being her mother, I was in denial. Like, no, not my daughter. You understand? But when I got that phone call on June 28th, I was like, my daughter. You know what I mean? So when the other person on the other end called me, I knew what it was. She didn't have to tell me. I knew what my daughter died from, because in the back of my mind, I knew what Tamari was into, but I was in denial because I was like, nah, this can't be real. You know what I mean? Because you want the best for your children. You know what I mean? But she was battling a lot of things, and it just got worse. And I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks of her life, I just seen behavior that you would be like, whoa, she's like out here, but not out here. You know what I mean? Just jumping up, taking a nap, just coming home 5 a.m, things that she was not doing, and just sleeping all day and just on the run again. And I'm just saying, and I could just live my truth without anybody judging me, because this was my truth, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is what it is.
Yes, ma'am. Mothers, and as I have you all do often, please keep Marjorie and Leon in prayer, because it once again are those impacted and community that is coming together, attempting to lead. And it just is so, and I'll just name this, and Leon, for both of you, but Leon for the years, and you know, some of the stuff we've done together. There's a whole separate trauma that comes with the fact that you're knocking and feels often like you're hitting your head up against a brick wall. And so I want to send strength to both of you, and y'all in the comments, send them arms, send the hearts, send the it's really a high five, but send the praying hands, as we call it, for these two, because this is not easy. Marjorie, your strength, woman, it's not even a year yet.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have taken this experience, and I know being around Tina, but I would not be my authentic self. You are, oh sis. Marjorie, if at any point you want to come off the camera, need me to take you off, please, please. This Jesus is one of the reasons why. And Marjorie, maybe timing is everything, because when you hit me, then it just made, who knows who's watching today and heard the signs. That's why I pressed you on what the signs were. And ma'am, and so mothers, y'all know my mother's board and others, I need y'all to really pray, bombard heaven for this one.
Marjorie like that, and it breaks my heart, because
yes, sir.
think that this is just we don't get paid for this. I don't get paid for this. Just so people know, a lot of us that do this work, we don't get paid for this. We live here. I had to tell little girls that their father passed away because they're overdosed. Okay.
You've had to do this, Leon?
Yeah, man. I had to tell 2 girls at 12 years old that their father overdosed.
Oh, hell.
And that triggered me, because I lost my father at 13. So for me to have to tell her that, them 2 kids that really hit me. So this is very personal.
Yes, sir.
And that's why it's very frustrating when I step into certain spaces and I see that this is just like a political game for people. This is just
lives.
These are lives. And
these are lives. Fentanyl, mass and cast, guns. These are lives. These are lives. These are not votes. These are not phone calls and political campaigns. These are lives of people.
Urgency. Why isn't there an
and
urgency?
The lack of political will to just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just.
But James, I take that challenge of definitely organizing something to
No, the challenge wasn't to you. It was a service and offer. We'll get a space. We can sidebar. Marjorie, we'll work it out with Tay and Rachel for the schedule. We'll get a space. I'll foot the bill, and we'll have food. If we got to figure out daycare so parents can come, we'll do it. Because again, for those that can't go back and watch, and there's something different about being in the space, and we'll bring the resource tables and stuff like that. We'll make this happen, brother, because we don't want this to be, and it's turning slowly into our new crack epidemic.
Yes.
And we're it's just,
and this is hitting young people. And though both of you have named, it doesn't discriminate. We know when there are issues in public health crisis, who is impacted the most? Folks all along the hue of the 3 of us on this screen, a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, and everybody in between. And so we'll sidebar, Leon, and get this together. I really appreciate both of you. I hate as to why both of you have become experts in this space. I hate the word resilience, because in order to be more resilient, you have to do what? Keep constantly needing to be resilient. But in the general term of it, we pray for your strength, strategy, your mental wellness, your ability to when to know. Leon and Marjorie, log off. And I'm looking at the screen when I say this for all of y'all that's going to jump in the comments. Please take care of yourselves because we're going to need y'all for the long haul. Hopefully not too long. We get this awareness campaign. The elected officials step up to the challenge of coming together. And the other piece was you said the database too, Leon, that there needs to be a database that is informed by community, but gives one website for people that need to just see if my child. Horrible way to find out.
And
But
I know
some answer
about the HIPAA laws and concerns for safety, but I don't think that's excuse for us to not get it done. It's possible. We can definitely and just to credit some folks, I had some elected officials reach out not too long ago, trying to figure out how they can support. What I'm noticing is there's a huge disconnect at City Hall. So you might talk to one city council at large, the other might not know what's happening, mayor might not know what's happening, but definitely shout out to Councilor Mejia, Councilor Murphy, Councilor Flaherty. A couple of the folks have actually reached out and said, you know what, this is not okay. So definitely, Margie, I would recommend we could connect afterwards, but definitely,
please. Y'all are on an email together now, so y'all are good.
Yeah, we can definitely put up and so I can explain to you a little bit about where folks are, and because there's definitely interest in seeing some change out there. We need to solidify our message and just come together and really push and just not let random folks, like we have a very small, and it's frustrating, but we have a small group of folks that are dominating this conversation, and
not just this one, but go ahead.
Yeah, you're right, many conversations, but I think there's good work to be done here, man, and it's possible. Part of my frustration is that I know this is possible. We can't change Massey Cast overnight, but we could definitely put some effort in to slow down and inform people about what's happening right now. This is deadly. This should be a wake-up call. And I hope, district councilors too step up and say, hey, my district, what can I do? Simple thing as an outreach campaign can help a lot. Because once you start spreading the word, like, hey, this stuff is bad out here. What are you doing? We all know somebody I know people that I know what they do and they know I know, but we don't talk about it. You know what I mean? And I think that's an opportunity there to just share this information. I reached out to a couple of people a few days ago when this stuff came out, and I said, hey, I just sent the article. I said, take a look. Boom. I didn't comment. I didn't say, oh, be careful. What are you doing? I said, check this out. Boom. And I sent the information. So I think, hey, if the city can send out a mass text or a mass message, we do it for BPS. The tools are there, James. So if you can make something work so we can get access to those tools, we can make it work.
I listen, Leon, put it this way, and I tell everyone, and we'll figure it out. Just a couple, shoot me an email, bro, and I know who to pop that off to real quick. And so and that is one of the, and I say this just because if there's ever any doubt or whatever, that this is one of the whole reason this platform started was because Charlie Baker told us we had to stay home, and I knew what was going to happen in our community. Yeah. So this is the essence of why we do this.
Do this more, Jimmy. I'm gonna give you a tip live, man. Bring more community folks in here. I know you do a lot of health experts, but you have a good platform.
Yes, sir.
Bring in regular folks from the community, because I think this is you have a good audience, and this is nothing new to you. You know what I mean? You know how this works.
Leon, stop, because I feel the moisture in my eyes. Because this was the essence.
This was what you're meant to be, James. This is what you're meant to do, and I've always told you that. Just make sure sometimes I see the people you bring on here. I'm like, who the hell is that, man? But but now I see it, and now it's like, no, I appreciate this. Definitely, just bring in regular folks. We need spaces to have regular community conversations.
Yes, sir.
It's not elected officials. It's not scripted. It's not confrontational. It's not. There's no political divisiveness. All these things like this. You can do a lot here. So I appreciate you reaching out and saying, hey, I see the stuff happening. Come on and talk to us. You didn't tell us don't do this. You just said it needs to happen. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
Leon, and you're one of the real, because you know we've not always agreed on style, but definitely the end game. And you're one of the realest brothers I know. And if y'all know Leon, so I thank you for anniversary is coming up, and I'm very sensitive to being. So thank you for pulling me back to center. Marjorie, you have the last word, ma'am.
Marjorie, I'll talk to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me on your platform. Thank you. And I did reach out to you in December, and you know, I was probably like 5 months in, and tomorrow will be 8 months in. And just thank you, because I'm the only advocate right now for my daughter, and because I could just speak her truth, you know, and that's
got me too. We're advocating too. We're here.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, I can speak her truth, and that's what I'm going to do. And it's other mothers out here that come to the Peace Institute that lost their kids from overdoses. We are better together, you know. So it's other moms, but those moms don't have the courage to speak up, you know.
Is that the name of your initiative, Marjorie? Ever Moms?
No. I says other moms. No,
other. No, but we may have heard something there.
Yeah, no. So Peace Institute have other mothers that come to groups on Monday night. We are better together. Have other mothers that come.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, so that's what Ruth Rollins. So it's just like they have other people in their spaces. Not everything is not homicide. It's overdoses now, right? Fentanyl poisoning, right? So these moms might see me and be like, okay, I want to come to one of these meetings, and that's what I want. You know what I mean?
Just also name that Ruth, because Leon, you talked about community. So this is the essence of the Java Cafe. If you reach out to Marjorie, and Marjorie, if you can, or someone from the Peace Institute in the private chat, either put a link, some phone number, email information for folks to reach out, and I'll put it on the screen right now. But one of the things I know about Ruthie's group is you can come on black screen. You don't have to show your face.
Yeah.
And so until you get comfortable, if you want to reach out for We Are Better Together and that group and what Marjorie is doing, somebody please get me the info in the comments.
Janice is in the comments from the Peace Institute, and she
Janice,
has
can you Janice,
every Monday night
link or a phone number or something for folks to know. Marjorie, write this down and put it in your back pocket, and for whatever date it comes, this is what you need to focus on.
Thank you.
Forever Moms, because no matter what, you're forever Tamari's mom.
Yes.
And so, ma'am, this didn't happen by happenstance.
I know.
Somebody typed in. She said other. I know. I didn't hear her say other. I heard Forever Moms. Leon, thank you. I know you out here hustling. And let's just name the balance and the appreciation for the fact when people say that they don't get paid to do this, it is so important that gets named and highlighted, because there are people that are. Yeah. And by our observation, we're doing a 40-hour job, raising family, kids and whatnot, and then still putting multiple hours into advocacy and planning and presentations. And Leon, at some point at that thing we do, if you can do a PowerPoint and present, we have a PowerPoint. Okay. I appreciate both of you. But folks, listen, Marjorie.
Yes.
So, all right. Somebody just said they posted their email. All right. Janice's email is here. Okay. Healing and Recovery Support Group every Monday on Zoom. Please reach out to me, Janice at ldbpeaceinstitute.org. LDB. I wish there was a way for me to cut and paste that and put it in the
Marjorie, can you send that flyer if you have a flyer, and we'll share that. Do you have a flyer for birthday?
Yep. They'll send it to me.
Janice in the background there. I hope you can hear me. Thank you.
It's Carly. Janice isn't here.
Okay, Carly, thank you so much. But pop your head in there real quick so we can say thank you. Thank you so much for the support, ma'am. Leon and Marjorie, thank both of you. I'm going to go take a little commentary off screen so you don't have to be associated with it. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Marjorie will keep y'all in prayers.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
It is just very interesting to hear Leon's experience, and know that in that space and other spaces that this is systemic. This is structural. Though there are individuals that are in positions in the current time when things are being addressed, White, Flynn, Menino, Walsh, Janey, Woo. Not capping. But this thing of community having to fight to collaborate and work together, let the community lead and the city support with that line through the S. We got some traction with the healing tour coming, but that model needs to transcend over into other areas. Community led, city supported. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we will have the chief of, and forgive me for not having her proper title, but Lori Nelson will be with us tomorrow morning to kind of close out Black History Month and usher us into Women's History Month. For the month of March, it is my intention to interview as many women as possible. We will have a panel and an event in March, and we're going to talk about women who lead. And then either on Wednesday or Thursday, I've been presented with an opportunity to talk with a leader of a very national organization. And I'll keep you abreast about that. I just have to get the confirmation before I announce it. Thank all of you. Let me get some music on here. Can I be honest with y'all? I'm in a very interesting place. And I don't know if it's because I don't have my headphones on and I can hear myself, but just feeling something is about to happen. And y'all just keep me in prayer. Simple as that. Yes. So Wednesday or Thursday, we'll let you know about that guest. Thank you for everyone that came out last night. My plan is to show it, but I did a preview of the video and I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi, but the first couple of seconds, it looked grainy. And so my goal is to show it from last night. Let me just check the comments. Dr. Brandy, once again, thank you so much. Charmaine, we got to get you booked too for your testimony. And again, timing is everything. Love y'all. Appreciate you. We have a anniversary coming up in just under a month. And we'll let y'all know the details about that. Thank you to everybody that volunteered, the DJ, the attendees, definitely my panelists, Sheena and Dart. We're going to have more conversations about that. One of the reasons that it's so important that we talk about this issue and what we did last night, I believe if more people knew just about our Black pride in general, but for residents of Boston to know so much of what we learned last night about our pride and how we lived in the North End and how we lived in Beacon Hill. We made it the upper echelon. I'm getting off of here, y'all. Love you. Sharon Cornelius, in your pink hearts. And let me tell y'all, Sharon slayed last night. She came in with a pink hat and the boots and the Sharon, post a picture. All right. I love y'all. Yes, Ma, the mother's board will be there. I got y'all shirts sitting right over there in the bag. So, all right, I'm getting off of here, y'all. I'm going to get some rest. I don't have to be to City Hall till 2:00. So have a wonderful day, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. All right. Peace, everyone.